In the modern era, climate change has become one of the most pressing issues of our time. Scientists, policymakers, and activists are working tirelessly to combat rising temperatures, melting ice caps, and extreme weather events. Yet, as we grapple with these challenges, it's worth looking back at the wisdom of ancient civilizations. Long before the advent of advanced technology or climate models, our ancestors observed, adapted to, and even mitigated environmental changes in ways that were both innovative and deeply connected to the natural world. What did they know about climate change that we've forgotten, or perhaps never fully understood? The wisdom of observation. Ancient civilizations lacked satellites, thermometers, or carbon dioxide sensors, but they were astute observers of nature. They understood that the environment was not a static entity, but a dynamic system that required careful attention and respect. For example, the indigenous peoples of the Americas, such as the Maya and the ancestral Puebloans, developed intricate systems of agriculture and water management that were finely tuned to their local climates. The Maya, who thrived in the dense rainforests of Central America, built sophisticated irrigation systems and practiced crop rotation to maintain soil fertility. They also observed celestial patterns and weather cycles, using this knowledge to predict seasonal changes and plan their agricultural activities. When prolonged drought struck their civilization around 900 CE, the Maya adapted by migrating to regions with more reliable water sources. While their civilization eventually declined, their ability to read and respond to environmental cues was remarkable. Similarly, the ancestral Puebloans of the American Southwest constructed elaborate networks of canals and reservoirs to capture and store rainwater. They also built their homes, known as cliff dwellings, in locations that provided natural insulation against extreme temperatures. These practices demonstrate a profound understanding of their environment and a willingness to adapt to its challenges. Living in harmony with nature. One of the most striking differences between ancient civilizations and modern society is their relationship with nature. For many ancient cultures, the natural world was not a resource to be exploited, but a sacred entity to be revered and protected. This worldview fostered a sense of responsibility and stewardship that is often lacking in today's industrialized world. Take, for instance, the Indigenous Australians, who have lived on the continent for over 65,000 years. They developed a deep spiritual connection to the land, which they refer to as country. Indigenous Australians practice firestick farming, a method of controlled burning that promoted biodiversity and reduced the risk of catastrophic wildfires. This technique not only maintained the health of the ecosystem, but also ensured a sustainable supply of food and resources. In contrast, modern land management practices often prioritize short-term economic gains over long-term environmental health. The devastating wildfires that have ravaged Australia in recent years are a stark reminder of what happens when we lose touch with traditional knowledge and practices. The role of mythology and storytelling. Ancient civilizations also use mythology and storytelling to convey important lessons about the environment. These narratives often emphasize the interconnectedness of all living things and the consequences of disrupting natural balance. For example, in Norse mythology, the story of Ragnarok, a series of apocalyptic events, includes a warning about the dangers of environmental degradation. The tale describes a harsh winter that lasts for years, followed by floods and the collapse of the natural world. While this is a myth, it reflects an understanding of the fragility of ecosystems and the potential for human actions to trigger catastrophic changes. Similarly, the ancient Greeks told the story of Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity. While this act symbolized human ingenuity and progress, it also came with a price: Pandora's box, which unleashed suffering and chaos upon the world. This myth can be interpreted as a cautionary tale about the unintended consequences of technological advancement and the need to use our knowledge responsibly. Lessons from collapse. Not all ancient civilizations were able to adapt to climate change, and their failures offer valuable lessons for modern society. The collapse of the Akkadian Empire in Mesopotamia around 2200 BC is often attributed to a prolonged drought that devastated agriculture and led to widespread famine. Similarly, the decline of the Indus Valley civilization has been linked to changes in monsoon patterns and the drying up of rivers. These examples highlight the vulnerability of even the most advanced societies to environmental changes. They also underscore the importance of resilience and adaptability in the face of uncertainty. While we cannot control the climate, we can learn from the past and take proactive measures to mitigate its impacts. Modern applications of ancient wisdom. The wisdom of ancient civilizations is not just a relic of the past. It has practical applications in the modern world. For example, indigenous practices such as agroforestry, the integration of trees and shrubs into agricultural systems, are being rediscovered as a way to combat deforestation and soil degradation. In Kenya, the Green Belt movement, founded by Nobel laureate Wangari Maathai, has planted millions of trees to restore degraded land and empower local communities. This initiative draws on traditional knowledge and demonstrates the enduring relevance of ancient practices. Similarly, the concept of rewilding, restoring ecosystems to their natural state, is gaining traction as a way to address biodiversity loss and climate change. In Europe, efforts to reintroduce species, such as wolves and beavers, have led to the recovery of ecosystems that had been damaged by human activity. These projects echo the ancient understanding of the interconnectedness of all living things and the importance of maintaining ecological balance. A call to action. As we confront the challenges of climate change, we would do well to remember the lessons of ancient civilizations. Their wisdom reminds us that we are not separate from nature, but an integral part of it. By observing, respecting, and adapting to the natural world, we can build a more sustainable and resilient future. This is not to say that we should abandon modern technology or scientific advancements. On the contrary, we need all the tools at our disposal to address the scale and complexity of the climate crisis. However, we must also recognize the value of traditional knowledge and the importance of living in harmony with the environment. One inspiring example of this approach is the work of the Maori people in New Zealand. In 2017, the Whanganui River was granted legal personhood, recognizing its status as a living entity with rights. This decision, rooted in Maori tradition, represents a radical shift in how we think about the environment and our relationship to it. It challenges us to move beyond a mindset of exploitation and embrace a more holistic and respectful approach to nature. Conclusion: ancient civilizations may not have had the scientific tools or technological advancements that we do today, but they possessed a deep understanding of the natural world and a profound respect for its power.